Imagine living a life where every aspect of your existence is dictated by a set of rules that control not just your actions, but your very identity. For women in Amish communities, this is their reality. What appears to be a peaceful life, marked by horse-drawn buggies and modest, hand-sewn dresses, is actually built on a strict adherence to tradition and an unspoken code of conduct. From the way they dress, to the people they marry, to the language they speak, everything is governed by an intricate system that can feel both comforting and confining. Miriam Lambury, who grew up in the Amish community, offers a glimpse into this world. She lived by these rules until one day, she made the difficult choice to break free, revealing the stark contrast between devotion and control, faith and oppression. But how far does faith go before it crosses into coercion? Are these customs rooted in pure belief, or are they designed to ensure strict conformity? In this article, we're going to explore the 20 shocking and lesser-known rules that Amish women must follow, and we'll uncover the complexities of life in one of the most secluded and tightly knit communities in the world. 1. The threat of the ban. In Amish communities, the threat of being banned is one of the most severe punishments a member can face. The term Meidung refers to the practice of excommunication, where a person is cut off from all social and religious interactions within the community. This includes immediate family members, such as parents, children, and siblings, who are prohibited from even speaking to the banned individual. The reasons for being banned can vary, but often stem from failing to follow the Ordnung, the unwritten code of conduct, or committing serious offences, such as marrying outside the faith. The experience of being banned is devastating for Amish women, who typically have a highly interconnected life within the community. It not only strips them of their social connections, but also isolates them from the shared values and support systems that are integral to Amish life. In many cases, this can result in immense emotional turmoil, as the community represents an individual's entire world. The seriousness of the ban is a clear indication of the Amish community's deep commitment to maintaining conformity and religious purity, reinforcing the idea that membership is conditional on complete adherence to communal rules and traditions. 2. Limited education for women. Education in Amish communities is intentionally limited, with both boys and girls attending school until the 8th grade. However, this is where the similarity between genders ends. While boys often continue their education through vocational training or apprenticeships that prepare them for farming or trade work, girls typically focus on homemaking skills. This educational divide reflects the Amish emphasis on gender roles, where women are expected to prioritize domestic responsibilities, such as cooking, cleaning, and raising children, over formal education or career aspirations. Higher education for women is not considered necessary in Amish culture because their roles within the family and community are deemed to be more focused on service and motherhood. In contrast to the growing opportunities for women in mainstream society, the limited educational opportunities in Amish communities keep women's roles largely confined to traditional expectations. This system maintains the Amish values of simplicity and separation from the outside world, but it also restricts the personal and intellectual growth of women, leaving them without the same freedoms and opportunities afforded to their non-Amish counterparts. The lack of education can be stifling for many Amish women who may yearn for a broader understanding of the world. 3. Birth control is forbidden. In Amish culture, the use of birth control is strictly forbidden, based on a literal interpretation of the biblical command to be fruitful and multiply. Amish couples are expected to embrace large families, viewing each child as a gift from God. Families with many children are common in Amish communities, with 5, 10, or even more children not being unusual. Women, particularly, bear the brunt of this expectation, as they are responsible for childbirth and the majority of childcare duties. The decision to not use birth control aligns with the Amish philosophy of living a simple, natural life that rejects modern conveniences and interventions. This practice, however, places significant pressure on Amish women, as they must manage a growing household and deal with the physical and emotional challenges that come with raising large families. The emphasis on large families often comes at the expense of women's personal desires or health, as they are expected to continuously bear children without the option for family planning. This tradition reflects the Amish belief in divine will, yet it also highlights the gendered expectations that place the primary burden of reproduction on women. Submission to husbands. Amish culture is deeply rooted in patriarchal traditions, where husbands are considered the heads of the household, and wives are expected to submit to their authority. This belief is based on biblical interpretations that assign distinct roles to men and women within marriage. In Amish households, the husband's role is to provide for the family, while the wife's role is to care for the home, children, and support her husband's decisions. Women are expected to be deferential to their husbands, seeking their approval for major life decisions and prioritizing their duties as homemakers. This structure, while based on faith and tradition, may feel limiting by modern standards, where gender equality is a common expectation. In Amish communities, however, the division of labor is seen as essential for maintaining religious harmony and order within the family. While Amish women may not have the same autonomy as their non-Amish counterparts, the expectation of submission is understood within the context of faith and the importance of maintaining a traditional and unified community. This gendered dynamic can be stifling for some women, but for others, it is a deeply ingrained way of life. 5. Mandatory attendance at community events. In Amish communities, participation in community events is not optional, but a mandatory aspect of life. Whether it is a barn raising, a quilting bee, or attending church services on Sundays, Amish women are expected to participate fully. These events serve to strengthen the social and religious fabric of the community, providing opportunities for interaction, bonding, and maintaining the Amish way of life. Missing an event is seen as a serious lapse in commitment to the community and can lead to gossip or even suspicion regarding one's faithfulness to Amish traditions. The events themselves are often social as well as spiritual, with young people meeting potential spouses in group settings that adhere to the strict guidelines of modesty and tradition. The expectation of regular attendance ensures conformity within the community, leaving little room for personal freedom or choice. While these events provide a sense of belonging and unity, they also function as a form of social control, keeping members in line with community values. For women, these events are an essential part of their role in the community and offer opportunities to fulfill their expected duties as mothers, wives, and contributors to community life. 6. No buttons allowed. Amish clothing is designed to reflect the community's values of simplicity, humility, and modesty. A key element of Amish dress is the avoidance of buttons, which are considered to be a form of vanity. In Amish culture, buttons are seen as unnecessary adornments that distract from the plainness that defines their lifestyle. Instead, Amish women's clothing is typically fastened with hooks, eyes, or pins, which serve a functional purpose without drawing attention. This seemingly small detail is significant because it reflects the Amish commitment to modesty and their rejection of the pride and individualism associated with modern fashion. The avoidance of buttons also serves as a visible sign of the Amish community's separation from the outside world. It reinforces the idea that Amish women's identities are not tied to outward appearances or personal adornment, but to their faith, community roles, and adherence to tradition. This restriction on clothing may feel oppressive to some, but it is embraced by many Amish women as a mark of their religious devotion and commitment to living a life of humility and simplicity. 7. Unique courtship customs. Amish courtship is a highly structured and unique process that is designed to ensure that couples form relationships within the boundaries of tradition and faith. Unlike the casual dating practices seen in the outside world, Amish courtship involves formal approval from the parents and is usually conducted in group settings. This practice ensures that modesty is maintained and that interactions between young men and women are kept in line with Amish values. A key element of Amish courtship is bundling, where couples spend time together in a bed, separated by a wooden board or blanket, maintaining complete modesty and chastity. The purpose of bundling is to allow couples to develop emotional intimacy while strictly adhering to the principle of no physical contact. The courtship process can last months or even years, with marriage being the ultimate goal. The expectation of a long, controlled courtship ensures that couples are fully committed to their faith and community before making the life-altering decision to marry. These traditions, while restrictive by modern dating standards, are deeply meaningful within Amish culture, reinforcing the community's commitment to preserving its values of modesty, faith, and tradition. 8. Tradition of bonnets. Bonnets are an iconic aspect of Amish women's attire and serve as powerful symbols of modesty, humility, and religious commitment. The bonnet is worn to cover a woman's hair, which in Amish belief is considered her glory and should not be displayed for vanity. By wearing a bonnet, Amish women express their submission to God's will and their adherence to the Ordnung, the unwritten code of conduct that governs their lives. Bonnets also carry social and religious significance within the Amish community, as the style and manner in which they are worn can indicate a woman's marital status, age, and level of devotion. For instance, single women typically wear simple white bonnets, while married women may wear darker-colored bonnets. The bonnet is a visible marker of identity within the community, signaling that the wearer is part of a larger faith-based society and has chosen to follow the values of modesty and humility. Though seemingly simple, the bonnet is an essential part of Amish women's lives, providing a sense of belonging and a reminder of the values they uphold. 9. Home births. In Amish communities, the practice of home births is a deeply rooted tradition. Amish women typically give birth at home rather than in a hospital, with the assistance of a midwife or experienced family members. This practice stems from the Amish commitment to self-sufficiency, simplicity, and a desire to remain separate from modern medical interventions. Home births are seen as a more natural and intimate way of bringing children into the world, reflecting the Amish belief that birth is a process controlled by God. The absence of modern medical procedures, such as epidurals or hospital equipment, aligns with their rejection of many modern technologies. The birthing process is typically simple and unadorned, with families often creating a supportive, peaceful environment. Children may be present during the birth, and the entire extended family may play a role in supporting the new mother. Despite the lack of medical interventions, Amish women rely heavily on faith during this process, trusting that God will guide them through the experience. The use of midwives allows them to maintain control over their birth experiences while staying true to their values of modesty and religious devotion. This tradition further strengthens the Amish community's self-reliant, faith-centered lifestyle. 10. Women cannot become preachers. One of the more prominent aspects of Amish religious life is the belief in male-only religious leadership. In Amish communities, only men can assume roles such as preacher, minister, or bishop, reflecting their interpretation of biblical teachings regarding gender roles. These positions of leadership carry great influence and responsibility as they guide the spiritual life of the community and oversee religious services. For women, this means they are excluded from the formal leadership hierarchy, regardless of their spiritual devotion or knowledge of the faith. Although women cannot serve as preachers, their religious contributions are still valued in other ways. Amish women are responsible for nurturing the faith of their families, teaching Sunday school, and participating in the religious life of the community in ways that are considered appropriate for their gender. While their spiritual roles are significant, they remain limited in scope when compared to men. This practice reflects the Amish adherence to traditional interpretations of Scripture, which emphasize male authority within the religious sphere. For some Amish women, this gendered separation of duties may be seen as a way of preserving the purity and structure of the community, while others may feel restricted by the limitations placed on their spiritual participation. 11th. Rumspringa, the freedom of choice. Rumspringa, which translates to running around in Pennsylvania Dutch, is one of the most intriguing and controversial aspects of Amish life. It is a period, usually beginning at age 16, when Amish teenagers are allowed to experience the outside world, often referred to as the English world. During Rumspringa, Amish teens can break from traditional rules, wearing modern clothes, using technology, and participating in behaviors that are strictly prohibited in their community, such as partying or dating non-Amish individuals. This period of freedom is meant to help them decide whether they want to join the Amish church as adults and live a life of strict devotion, or leave the community altogether. While Rumspringa is a time of exploration, it is not without its challenges. Some Amish teens return to the faith after experiencing life outside,
I'm
while
very
others
excited too.
choose to leave permanently.
What did you
The
play?
decision to return to the Amish church
They didn't
and
really
undergo
say
adult
much, like, they
baptism
were...
is a significant commitment that affects not only the individual, but also their relationships within the community. Rumspringa remains a deeply personal experience, and although it is often romanticized in popular media, it is also fraught with tension as it forces young Amish individuals to confront the realities of modern life versus their upbringing. 12. No formal sex education. Sex education within Amish communities is almost non-existent in the formal sense. Amish children are taught basic biology, but the focus is on modesty and the sanctity of marriage, rather than sexual relationships or reproductive health. Discussions about sex are typically avoided in the classroom, and instead, children are expected to learn about the subject from their parents or other trusted adults in a more private and family-centered setting. The emphasis is on sexual relations within the confines of marriage, with a strong focus on procreation as part of God's will. Because of the lack of formal sex education, many Amish individuals are left to figure out the complexities of relationships and sexual health largely on their own. This can create challenges, especially as they enter adulthood and begin courtship. The Amish approach to sexuality is shaped by their religious beliefs, which prioritize chastity before marriage and the importance of family. For Amish women, this approach may feel restrictive, particularly in a modern world where sex education is considered a vital part of understanding relationships and personal health. Despite the absence of formal education, the Amish believe that their approach to sex and relationships upholds the sanctity of marriage and the religious values that guide their lives. 13. No makeup allowed. Amish women are forbidden from wearing makeup as part of their broader commitment to modesty and humility. The use of cosmetics is seen as a form of vanity and a way to draw attention to oneself, which goes against the Amish values of simplicity and spiritual focus. The rejection of makeup is consistent with their belief that physical beauty should not be emphasized or celebrated. Instead, Amish women focus on their inner beauty, which is expressed through kindness, humility, and service to others. This cultural practice reflects the Amish desire to separate themselves from the influences of the modern world, which often promotes outward beauty and self-presentation. Amish women may instead express their individuality and faith through their attire, such as their distinct clothing and head coverings, which signal their religious devotion and commitment to tradition. The lack of makeup further underscores the Amish rejection of materialism and the pursuit of superficial beauty. While this practice might feel stifling or outdated in mainstream society, for Amish women, it is a way to maintain their commitment to modesty and align their lives with the teachings of their faith. 14. Faceless toys. A unique aspect of Amish childhood is the tradition of faceless toys. Amish children's dolls and figurines are intentionally made without facial features, such as eyes, noses, or mouths. This practice stems from the belief that faces can encourage vanity or pride, and the Amish value humility above all else. By removing faces, these toys are seen as neutral objects that allow children to project their own emotions and imaginations onto the toys. This approach also serves to discourage children from focusing on physical appearances, reinforcing the Amish value of modesty. The faceless dolls are symbolic of the Amish community's broader emphasis on simplicity and the rejection of worldly distractions. It teaches children that value lies not in outward appearance, but in one's character and relationship with God. These faceless toys are not only an expression of Amish values, but also a creative tool, allowing children to engage in imaginative play while reinforcing their cultural beliefs. This tradition highlights the Amish community's commitment to raising children in an environment free from the distractions of vanity and materialism, keeping them focused on the spiritual aspects of life. 15th. Wedding night traditions. Amish wedding traditions are distinct and often very different from modern mainstream practices. Following the wedding ceremony, newlywed couples typically do not immediately begin their married life on their own. Instead, they often stay with the bride's family or another relative for a period of time, which can range from a few days to weeks. During this time, the couple helps with household chores, such as cooking, cleaning, and tending to farm work. This tradition reflects the Amish commitment to family, cooperation, and the continuation of close-knit relationships within the community. Staying with relatives after the wedding helps the couple ease into married life, fostering a sense of support and shared responsibility. It also allows the couple to bond with their extended family and gain practical experience in managing household duties. This practice contrasts with modern wedding traditions, where couples often seek privacy and independence after their ceremony. For the Amish, the emphasis is on communal support, hard work, and the strengthening of familial ties, which are considered central to a successful marriage and life within the community. 16th Barn. Raising, the ultimate community effort. Barn raising is one of the most iconic Amish traditions, representing the collective spirit of the community. When an Amish family needs a new barn, the entire community bands together to construct it in a single day. This practice highlights the Amish values of teamwork, cooperation, and self-sufficiency. Barn raisings are meticulously organized, with each individual assigned specific tasks according to their skills and experience. The men typically handle the heavy lifting and construction, while the women prepare food and drink for the workers, ensuring that everyone stays nourished throughout the long day. The barn raising is more than just a practical endeavor. It is a symbol of the Amish community's unity and shared commitment to one another's success. The event also provides an opportunity for socializing, with families coming together for a common cause. This communal effort fosters a deep sense of connection, reinforcing the idea that no individual is alone in the Amish way of life. Once the barn is completed, the work is celebrated, with a meal shared by the entire community. The barn-raising tradition emphasizes the importance of mutual aid and cooperation, both of which are essential for the Amish lifestyle of communal living and faith-based support. 17. Limited use of technology. The Amish are known for their resistance to modern technology, as they believe that it can disrupt their simple, faith-centered way of life. Electricity, smartphones, computers, and most forms of modern communication are generally avoided in Amish households. This rejection of technology is based on the belief that it leads to worldly distractions, fosters individualism, and undermines the communal values that are central to Amish culture. However, the Amish are not completely opposed to technology. Some Amish businesses may use limited forms of technology, such as telephone lines or equipment for farming purposes. Medical technology, including life-saving equipment, is also permitted when necessary. Despite these exceptions, the core principle remains: technology should not intrude on the Amish way of life or undermine their values of humility, simplicity, and close-knit community living. This limited use of technology allows the Amish to maintain a direct connection to nature, their families, and their religious practices without the constant pull of modern distractions. For Amish women, this also means that their roles are centered around the home, family, and community without the outside influences that technology can often bring.